like to call to order the Monday, February 3rd Board of Education meeting, 7 p.m. Christine, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion, or agenda item number 3, approval of minutes, approval of the minutes from the January 27th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next item on the agenda. Item 5, professional appointments, retirements, and resignations.
Kim will pass out the professional appointments, retirements, and resignation. We had some that came in late last week, so we wanted to hold off from putting it in.
We've had 12 retirements, and we ask that people notify us of their intent to retire by the end of this year, notify us by February 1st.
So that's why we have all these kind of, so in case people are watching at home, this is why we have these retirements at this time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And because of the timing of our budget
Right,
meeting,
right.
we had to
Budget's
hand it
already
out
drafted
tonight.
before February 1st.
Right, yes.
Wow.
Wow.
I know.
Oh,
Darn.
wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's a lot of years experience. Wow. Any discussion or questions for Kathy or Kim?
These are outstanding faculty members who have really helped shape who we are today, and, we just wish them all the best. They will be missed, but their legacy will live on in our school district for many, many years to come.
There's so many here you'd want to be able just to kind of single out. We'd be here all night.
Oh, I know.
You're really, really good.
Outstanding.
Team members here, for sure. Sorry to see them go.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda, unfinished business, continuation of budget review. We have our building principals here tonight, if they'd like to come up.
So we're so happy to have our administrators here. Renee St. Hilaire from East Farms, Katie Bloor from Westwoods, Nilda Arizari from IAR, Scott Hurwitz from the high school. We also have Ted Donahue from Special Services, and Nicole Vivert, our assistant principal at Westwoods. So we always start with, just to give the board a sense of what some of the priorities are at the school level that you would find within this budget. And so who would like to start? Let's start with Renee.
Pass the microphone.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having us this evening and for all the work that you do on behalf of our students here in Farmington. As you've probably seen over the last several board meetings as I follow the minutes, one of the priorities for the elementary, and I think specifically East Farms, we continue to enjoy very high enrollment, and we are getting new students every day. And so that's one of the things that I think is a priority for us at East Farms, although I would say that I'm very pleased and proud of how my whole faculty works together to do what we need to do, given our space and our size. But that is something that we're continuing to work hard on. And I would say that mental health continues to be an area that we all need support in across all levels. And I'm happy to take questions too once we all talk if you have further questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renee. Again, I'm Katie Bloor, so I'm also brand new to Farmington. I'm super excited to be here. And I have to say, one of the big things I've noticed coming from another district is the priority we put in building teacher professional capacity. So for example, the early release days that we have, and I know that was supported several years ago, that has been an amazing opportunity for our staff to build capacity around the major tenets that are part of the budget book, which include the academic excellence, the equity, the social emotional learning, and the flexible pathways to learning. So that's something we would like to continue at Westwoods. We have the supports and structures in place currently to support that programming for our students to ensure their success. So we'd like to keep that going if we're maintaining the budget as is, which we know it's a tricky thing this year. So thank you.
I'm Nilda Arizari, the principal of IAR. I just wanted to thank the board, especially for last year's budget considerations. We definitely have utilized some of the increased supports, including our additional care team member to support the social and emotional well-being of our students. The care team member consults with teams and comes up with appropriate behavioral support plans to support our teachers and our students. We're also utilizing the expertise and support of our school psychologist who meets with students regularly and supports our special education referral process. For the 2020-2021 budget, IAR has increased slightly our funding for books. We want to focus on equity matters. We believe that students should have books with characters that look like them, that match some of their experiences. And for other students, we also feel that these books should provide windows into new cultures and experiences. So we are supporting our library, our reading curriculum, and our language arts with diverse text. We also want to thank the board for the consideration of a one-to-one Chromebook initiative at the middle school. We believe that these Chromebooks are going to offer us the opportunity to collaborate digitally. We want to increase research opportunities for kids, and we believe the Chromebooks continue to support that.
Good evening. I know everybody's been working hard, especially over the weekend and continuing into this week, so thank you for your work on that. And then on behalf of Farmington High School, we want to thank the board and central office for their continued support. We're having a great year at Farmington High School and looking forward to more to come. Certainly, as I'm sure you're all aware, the major focus at Farmington High School this year is not directly linked to the Board of Education budget, but in general, as Town Council will discuss tomorrow evening, allocations of resources for the Farmington High School building project that continues to move along, and we're pleased with the progress of the committee on that. And so we thank the board. I know I've seen many of you out late at those meetings over the past few weeks and probably in the weeks ahead as well. So thank you for that. But that certainly is a focus for us, and I wanted to make sure we highlighted that this evening. In terms of the budget at Farmington High School, overall, we project a decrease in what we asked for from last year overall, so we expect that to take place. That being said, it doesn't mean we're not prioritizing or reallocating resources to meet the needs of our students and our faculty and staff so that we can continue to provide the very best instruction in high schools across the state of Connecticut. Some focal areas that I would think would be important to highlight, as Renee pointed out, which continues to be a focus across our district, especially as we look at social emotional learning and the mental health needs of students. We would appreciate the board support in the addition of a school psychologist at Farmington High School. So again, we're reallocating full-time expenditures to get there, but we feel the addition of a psychologist could help in a variety of ways, not only meeting national standards for the size of our school and the amount of psychologists we should have, but we want to continue to offer the very best mental health support. We've seen a steady rise in at-risk assessments across the district, including Farmington High School, along with the needs for comprehensive evaluation through special education, 504, or in terms of SRBI, multi-tiered systems of support, and providing resources for that as well. So we're excited about the opportunity to add an additional member to that team to continue to bolster the supports we offer here at Farmington High School. The other big change that's coming, as I'm sure you're well aware of, the changing graduation requirements in the state of Connecticut and the launch of the Aspire program at Farmington High School. And so again, reallocating resources for full-time for full-time staff in that area. We're looking to add .3 as an Aspire coordinator. Next year is our pilot year with Aspire, so we're adding 4 pilot Aspire courses. With the following school year, we need to be up to full implementation of that, so you're looking at probably 10 or 12 new classes at Farmington High School to meet the graduation requirements for the class of 2023. So those are our big shifts in full-time employment. Additionally, like I said, the rest of our changes, we overall expect a decrease in our budget requests, and for that to continue. However, we've just shifted some things around to meet the needs at Farmington High School, and we're happy to answer any questions relating to any of that as well. So again, thank you for your support.
Thank you. Any questions for our principals?
I have a question.
Liz?
So this goes to Renee in particular. The East Farms situation with the overcrowding, and you do a lot with your situation, but how long do you foresee that you can sustain that, and what kind of budget strangleholds do you have on you in particular? I know you're here representing all of the principals, but I mean, since you're here, I'll ask you, like, what kind of restrictions do you have on your budget because of the population in your particular school?
Well, I'd say fortunately, we don't have budget restrictions as much as we have space restrictions. That's sort of where I'm struggling the most at the current moment. And fortunately, our first plan is we've looked at 6 streets that could be choices for families to attend Noah Wallace. So that's something that we're looking very closely at, and that we have announced specifically to our incoming kindergartners and other families that might want to start off at Noah Wallace. So we are looking at that as our first go-to. However, as you've seen in some of the projections, I do think this is a continuing trend. I started off this school year expecting to have 441 students. That was the projection. And currently I'm at 480. So it increases even throughout the year. And next year we're projected to have 497. And given that we're already at 480, I do think that's a pretty fair estimate, or even slightly lower than what we currently have. So I've already been taking a look closely at the numbers to brainstorm with my faculty what are the things that we can do to make it work within our school, and sort of what our plan A and our plan B would be, because it does impact space specifically.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if you were having any, I mean, I understand that for some of your programs, it requires equipment, and sometimes not all students can afford equipment, so there are some things that, the school has to purchase. So I thought maybe there would be some budgetary, problems with, overcrowding or more students in a school. So I just wasn't sure if it impacted your budget at all, having.
Not at this current point. Thank you, though, for asking.
Okay.
Anyone else for questions for our principals?
Well, can I just say that this has been a challenging budget, and we are, a team, and I can't say enough about our school-based leaders in partnering with us. We had to make some really difficult choices along the way, and everyone understood that this was a particularly challenging budget because of the drivers of the budget. So there was a lot of back and forth and reductions that were made during the process from where principals brought their budgets in originally. So I just want to thank our principals for their collaboration and understanding.
I wouldn't read a lack of questions from the board as being disinterested in your presentation at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I think it's more a reflection of what you brought, and an understanding from our perspective. I think where we are and how we are with you, and we understand what your challenges are, and we're trying to make sure that you're able to fulfill those challenges, in these, in a trying budget year. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Well said, Bill.
Yeah, well said, Bill.
I get an apple, my little test at the end of the day, get a little stars, maybe. On my budget book, do I get stars? or
Yes, sure.
Red apples or something? Okay.
We don't have
That'd be a good, that would be, oh, you're like a little
by yourself. No, not those.
No, it was gold stars. I said
gold stars.
So at this time from our Saturday budget meeting, there were some questions that board members had for Kathy and central office, so Kathy will just walk us through.
So the first question was about our contract for trash removal, and if we collaborated with the town, and we don't collaborate with the town. The only increases that you see would be because of the cost of recycling, and that is increasing because it's more challenging for them to find places that will take that material, and CWPM is our contractor. We also had a question about the hand dryers and shades and repurposing things that we are planning to purchase for FHS. And, could we repurpose that in a new school, or could we repurpose that in other schools? And yes, anything that's viable to repurpose, we will, whether that's at FHS, if, when we look at our approval of a building project, or in one of our other schools. I think one of the things that we would be looking at is, definitely furniture and all kinds of like maintenance equipment. There's so much that we could repurpose and lower our FF&E in the FHS project, or repurpose it to another school. So we would absolutely plan to do that. What choices would you make to reduce non-mandated special services? And Lori Singer answered this question similar to what I had said, that we have, federal and state requirements, but an IEP is a legal document, so this budget is built on, what we know right now as far as, services and staffing and things that are needed. The next is similar: provide mandated, non-mandated special services. Basically, of the $603,850, that is an increase in special services across many lines. And Lori had reiterated about the issue of items that are identified in an IEP, and how those things need to be then provided. They're mandated. Items like supplies, equipment, and memberships are not mandated unless they're in a particular item, that item is included in a child's IEP. So there's some choices that we make when it comes to supplies and things like that. You can see where the details of that $603,850, you can see all of the particular drivers of that, between a 2.5 certified FTE, a 0.5 non-certified FTE, increase in consultation, increase in public and private tuition, and then all other special services across accounts like services, supplies, memberships. The next question, and if you want to stop me anywhere, please do. Ted is here, especially with the special services questions. Can we separate health and safety concerns in the major facility projects? We're going to go through a PowerPoint for you that will go through what's health and safety. We had an asterisk next to the items that were health and safety, but as we looked at that question, there were additional items like a snow blower or things like that. We do have to make sure that that's a health and safety item, and so we may have added some items, but we also took off some items, so you'll see what that total is. Anything that we do cut out of facility maintenance, it took us a while to build that account up after the K-8 facility review, so we'd have to just look in future years to build that account up if we were to go there for reductions. The cost of the CWRA test is $12,000. What percentage did we receive in excess cost from the Connecticut State Department of Education for the past 3 years? So as a reminder, if a child costs the district, or the services we provide to the child cost the district 4.5 times the per pupil expenditure. Anything over that is submitted to the state for reimbursement. We should be receiving 100%. We haven't received 100% as long as I've been here, and I'm sure many years before that. But for 2016-17, we received 75.39%. In 2017-18, 72.68%. In 2018-2019, 73.62%. What is the cost of summer education programming versus regular education summer programming? Special education summer program is $293,000. Regular ed summer school is $162,100. Then we had questions about pay to participate. When did it start, and what is the gap that we're trying to fill when it comes to pay to participate in interscholastic athletics. So you'll see that it did start in 2009-10. And in the annual budget, each year we reduce the coaching line by $100,000, and we project that same amount in revenue from pay to participate to address the operating budget reduction. With an addition of $25 per student, a total fee of $125 per student, and $100 per family, a total fee of $500 per family for pay to participate, which is proposed in the 2020-2021 school year, we believe this amount would offset the reduction of $100,000 by only $80,000. So we are a bit underfunded, but I will tell you this fluctuates quite a bit from year to year. So we project that we're going to receive $100,000 of pay to participate, and sometimes we might be up at $85,000, and the next year we're down at $55,000. So it fluctuates quite a bit, and that's just based on ability to pay, and some students have difficulty with that fee. And we want all students who want to be a part of interscholastic sports to do that, so that doesn't limit anyone from taking advantage of trying out for a particular sport. We also included all the pay to participate amounts that we could find. It was difficult to get every single DIRG B. That is, the DIRG B districts are the districts we compare ourselves to, and fall within a similar demographic as Farmington. So we included those on there just so that you could get a comparison to other districts. Then there was a question about an overview of intramural and interschool or interscholastic athletics at Westwoods and IAR. And K-6 intramural is run by Excel, and there is a fee of $30 per student per sport, K4 school in K4 schools, and $60 per student per sport at Westwoods. And we are thinking of increasing these fees just given, what we're dealing with in the budget. 7-8 intramural is run by IAR faculty at no fee. So this is when, intramural, this is not when we're competing. 7-8 interscholastic athletics occurs at IAR only. And so it's not at Westwoods, and there is a fee of $75 per season, and we have field hockey, cross country, and volleyball. And we are probably going to have to increase the fees there as well, just like we are with pay to participate at the high school.
Any questions for Kathy?
So do you want to go over the major projects, that question yet, or no?
I guess everyone comfortable holding off on these and move on to, you have a PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's move.
So as Kathy said, on Saturday, we were asked to prioritize our major project requests with a focus on health and safety. So as a team, we went through that today and highlighted the priorities based on your request, and then we can show you what the overall reduction would be. Thanks, Matt. So the items that are highlighted are the ones that we are prioritizing, and please, if you have any questions, let me know. Again, look through the lens of health and safety. These are all things that we feel are very important, but these are the things that we would want to happen in the next year. So 3 projects at Farmington High School. IAR, the bathroom partitions are not health and safety, so that is something we could try to either do an in-house fix or put in a future budget. The auto scrubber and is something where that's an air quality type issue, so making sure that we can clean the floors appropriately, so that is a priority still. At Westwoods, same thing. The carpet machine is to clean the carpets, and also prioritizing replacing the loading dock. We did take classroom painting out of the budget across schools, so you'll see that. East Farms, the awning window replacement and the interior soffit repair are 2 projects we're still prioritizing. They also both coincide with the renovation that's going to be happening starting this spring. So they kind of work in tandem, and they definitely fall under the umbrella of health and safety. Union School, the fin tube radiation, that is about climate control in certain spaces in the school. And Noah Wallace, the walk behind snow blower, safety, and the suspended ceilings. Those are starting, the tiles are coming down, and they do need, the tiles themselves need replacement. West District, the air conditioning, I spoke about that this weekend based on the location of the classrooms and the amount of sunlight that comes in those spaces. Exterior door replacement, the stage curtain rigging, and the door hardware upgrades. Again, painting was removed and the shade replacement. And that's it. That brings us to a total reduction of $103,526 as proposed. And then again, as Kathy said, we will need to build the base back, in this account in the 2021-22 budget. But any questions?
Liz? All right, so I have an overall question about the document itself. So when we got the document, it said that the things with stars on it were K-8 facility review and/or health and safety concerns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're being told that things are highlighted that are safety concerns that didn't have stars. So how does that happen?
I think we were saying, when we were saying health and safety, when we originally had done it, we were maybe putting a very, of course, cracks in the, walkway. But when we started to think about the question that we were asked, we thought, well, if we don't have a snow blower that's working, it might not be health and safety to the custodian, but it will be to all of those who are trying to get into the school. So we thought, well, we should really expand our definition. I think we had a more narrow definition of it, and once you asked the question, we said, well, we also want to give you, good feedback on that question and not, there's some things that were starred that we felt were health and safety in or K-8 review or health and safety, and we felt like, gee, if we can push that off a year. So we wanted to give you a good answer to that. We weren't thinking about the health and safety as a potential, like we're going to use that as a bar of reductions. So I think we just had to look at it again, and we spent time today together and had to make some different recommendations.
Yeah. Well, no, that makes sense, because when it says K-8 facility review, and some of the things
Our K-8 facility,
K-8
right.
facility review, which we're trying obviously to make headway with over a period of time.
Right.
And this is not ideal to have to take time out from that headway, but in a tough budget year, we might have to do that.
Right.
So that does make sense. And quite honestly, the West District stage curtain upgrade rigging thing looked like a safety concern to me, so I didn't understand why it wasn't on the list, but.
Well, Ellen pointed that out, and so fair enough.
Right. But, look, yeah, it was
No,
just,
that is a good question. I think the piece that stands out the most too is the lens of equipment. We weren't looking at equipment in the lens of health and safety, and it also isn't necessarily in the K-8 facilities. But then when we sat as a team today, including Tim Harris, we're like, well, yeah, that is safety.
Right.
When you're looking at a different lens of air quality, sidewalks, things like that. So
I just want to make sure there's an explanation out there in case people
Absolutely,
get
yep.
the two different documents, and, you know, they just can't get the documents in a vacuum. There has to be an
Right.
explanation.
Absolutely,
So,
yep.
Okay. All right, so it wasn't just arbitrary, there was a thoughtful decision-making process, and.
Yep.
Okay, good. And as far as the carpet cleaner at Westwoods, what are they using now? You said it was something, I think you said on Saturday it was one that they got from another school?
that's correct. It was from the high school. It was a hand-me-down from the high school. Off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure how many years ago we received that, but it is an essential, if you can picture Westwoods in the hallways, every space is carpeted except for the science labs. And when we talked about it today, we did focus on that idea of the impact of air quality and keeping the carpets clean, and it does need replacement.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to be clear, Alicia, nothing was removed from major projects that has a health or a safety concern?
That's correct.
Okay. Anybody else?
About what specifically?
Major
Repairs?
projects?
Okay, no, I have nothing.
Anything on the Q&A, or we can?
Just in the Q&A, did you say what the dollar amount would be if we adjusted the reimbursement on ECS from 65 to 70%? What would that dollar amount change be on the budget?
36,000.
I guess, Ellen, I have a question for you, and I'm not sure how we, I mean, right now, we have the budget motion, right? Do you want to call the budget and then see how that goes, or you want to go around the table, get a sense, or what do you want? Because we're kind of in new waters here.
Well, I think, is there any other documents of any efficiencies that you were bringing back to us from Saturday's budget workshop?
Well, I know that the board had asked some questions, and we did look at reductions. We have very little when we think about level 1 or level 2. So level 1 would be the least impact. That's how we've always done reductions. We have level 1 is the least impact, level 2 is a significant impact, level 3 would be the most significant impact, and level 3 is, as we're looking at, program, staffing, and items that do affect students, we're just, I think, when I explained on Saturday, we made many reductions to this budget already that would fall in the category of level 1 and level 2. So we spent a lot of time this weekend and today just thinking of, is there any areas? I've also heard, questions from board members, when it comes to the maintenance lines, facility maintenance lines. So a question that came up was window washing, and we thought, we could hold off a year with window washing if we needed to. But again, every time we do that, we have to build it back in the year after. But that was one example. It's $19,580. That's a level 1. That's the least impact. We can make that reduction. And then there were, everything else is more, substantial reduction. So if there are any questions, I'd really, we want to hear that before we got into that, the reduction.
So I think Bill, to your question, where I'd like to direct the board is to the document, the possible budget reductions that Kathy and her staff have brought to us, just in, the spirit of the council asking us to come in at a lower target. I know it's a very tough year. So I guess I would like to just go through that page if anyone has any questions. Those would be on any, if we want to,
I think it's
I guess it's only
important,
level 2 and level 3.
right, I think it's important to recognize that, at least in our 10 years of being here, we've never got to a point where we would consider cutting the budget before sending it to the town council.
Right.
I think it's a demonstration of this board's willingness to be mindful of the needs and the concerns of the council in a difficult year, when we know there's going to be a lot of asks made of the town of Farmington. And so that's how I want to kind of think about as we go into this discussion, is that this is in a sense, almost unprecedented, certainly in our tenure and Kathy's tenure. So it's important, I think, we make note of that.
Liz, yeah.
I would like to speak to that. I'm absolutely, completely opposed to cutting the budget voluntarily before it goes to the town council. However, given the situation with the new high school proposal and the hope that we're going to get one and that we're in dire need of one, and I know that it's a lot to ask of the people of Farmington, and I think that, we really need to make an effort to all work together. And I know that the town council has made its recommendation as to what they want us to aspire to do here. I am willing to make some efforts tonight to work with the town council, but on a voluntary basis, make some difficult decisions that I'm going to try to not impact any students or any programming. But that's all I'll do. I mean, if anyone knows me, I've been talking for 11 years straight about how the Board of Education's role is not to cut its own budget, and that's up to the town council. So I'm doing this under duress, but for the greater good of the educational needs of the town. So that's what I have to say about the situation.
Anybody else?
So are you talking about this?
Yes.
What- Okay. I have.
Christy.
I do have a question. And I don't know if I would direct this towards Ted or Nilda. The .2 counseling IAR staff cut. I have a lot of concerns about that, and I want to know just, what kind of impact. I mean, obviously, we've been putting a lot of focus on, all of that, and cutting a counseling department at a middle school level is very concerning and alarming to me. So I don't know. I know we already had just, 2 and a .8 for a lot of students at a time that they desperately need, counseling. And, I have concerns with cutting that. Is that,
Could we just clarify exactly what the staffing is? Because I think that,
Well, I think just because we have people here, could we go through level 2 and then go to the level 3? Just because they don't, they haven't seen it, so I just want to
okay.
go to level
Sorry.
2 first. So if we could, do I have it or do you have it? Oh, there it is.
Sorry.
Okay. So we looked at doing, we do 3 uniforms at FHS for athletics every year. So we thought, well, we'll do, a female and a male team and not do the third. So that's $4,100. And office supplies, $2,000. I will tell you, I already made a lot of cuts to this during the budget process. Again, all of these things at some point, we'll have to build some of these accounts back up, but we're trying to find anywhere that doesn't impact students. It's very difficult in this particular budget. So that's $6,100. So we'll go to the next slide, which is the most significant impact, and it does impact programs, staffing, and students, because even if you look at replacement equipment, which has been cut already, we're going to then cut more of those items. It will be across the district to minimize the impact, but replacement equipment will be cut by $5,000. We would, I just want to say that this is very difficult to get to this level as superintendent. My job is to bring forth a budget that's responsive to our students, our faculty, our community, and these are reductions that are deep reductions. So We had planned, I would say that this is a reduction in technology, and it's a significant reduction. I don't want to minimize it, because really what Matt has told us, whether we went to one or not, this would be the budget level. So this means fewer Chromebooks in our school district, and this will create a situation that we have to make up for. But $140,000 to postpone the one-to-one at FHS only, so that we would continue the Westwoods IAR one-to-one, but not at FHS. The software reduction would be software that our students are currently utilizing that we would not renew for next year. That's $27,000. And And major facility projects. Only health and safety, we went over that, $103,526. And then excess cost. So as that was something that was explained earlier, we would reduce special education, I think it's public tuition, by $36,000, calculating excess cost reimbursement at 70% rather than 65%, which that's what we calculated it at that level. A part-time driver is a staffing cut of $20,998. We're going to have, that creates less flexibility in mail delivery and other functions. And then point two, counseling at IAR, which Christy asked about, for $19,173. And it would be one less period per day of counseling support at IAR, from 2.8 FTE to 2.6 FTE at IAR. And that would be a total of $351,697. Oh, sorry, that's the subtotal. And then overall, including pages, the least impact, significant impact, and most significant impact, $377,377. That brings us to a 3.95% increase in the budget. And so a question about counseling at IAR.
You say one period a day of counseling. I mean, how many students do they see in one period? I mean, that's every day, you know what I mean? So that's more than one student in
Well, we
an hour.
have lots of supports. It's not just counseling that we have for our students. I think Nilda had mentioned that there was the care team member that was added to IAR, to provide services. In generally, and I don't want to defend any of this because I would rather not be doing any cuts, but I have been asked to. Yes, I mean, we're asked to make difficult decisions, so we've brought this forward. We did look into counselor ratios, and nationally, the ratio is one counselor for every 482 students. And in Connecticut, the last that I could find was one counselor for 466. However, the guideline would be one counselor for every 250 to 300 students. With this cut, we're still under that ratio. We prioritize our, students, the counseling services, and mental health services in Farmington. That's a priority for us. So we've built many systems around that. And this is not ideal, and we would have to look at it. And if it didn't work well last year, we would be telling you that throughout the year in our budget impact update, agenda item, every single board meeting, we'd say this is a very difficult reduction, and we're having difficulty with that. But I would say that we would, the care team, we also have a 0.5, I think, special education teacher that will give us some flexibility between East Farms and IAR, two schools that we're seeing increases in the need for special education services. So we put it as unassigned, but it really, the two
with the
schools.
high enrollment at East
Yeah.
Farms, I mean, let's be honest, that's.
What's that?
With such high enrollment at East Farms, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be using a lot of that.
Well, it would be based on IEPs. So in the summer, we look at all IEPs and we shift staffing to the schools that need it the most. So that is based on IEP hours. So whether it's paraprofessionals or certified staffing, we always make changes to assignments in the summer if needed, given the needs of that particular school. So it's very fluid, and it's based on student need.
Anything else, Christy?
No.
Anyone else? Any discussion on the level 3 reductions?
You said you're taking this 26,000 out, though, for the special ed because of that $36,000?
No, we replaced it with a 36,000.
We'll be watching the
that's
PowerPoint on the
different. Okay.
screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
With respect to the level 2 cuts, actually, I know, it sounds like we're nickel and diamond, but the idea of the uniforms, I know it's a savings, with the pay-to-play costs going up. I'd like to be able to at least send something to the athletic department to let them know that we're mindful of the challenges they had, and we don't necessarily want to take a new set of uniforms away. I would not necessarily be in favor of that particular cut because of the change in pay-to-play, and just in terms of being mindful of that parent and student community, and the staff too, frankly, in terms of morale.
Any other discussion on the level 2 reductions that Kathy's brought forth? Anyone? Okay, so anything on, we probably should start with the level 1, the reduction in window washing. I think there might be questions on, I know it's in an annual repair. Are we under contract, or just the impact of the window washing reduction? It would be, I think we would consider this a 1-year moratorium.
Agreed.
Just would be interested on the impact of a 1-year moratorium on the window washing.
I think it would be fine for 1 year.
Right, I think it's going to be double next year. It's still the same amount of windows,
Similar to
just a little extra
we would
Windex.
prioritize and had, in-house projects that would have to get done and not do windows that,
I think what I'm going to do is I'll make a motion to approve a reduction in the tentatively approved budget that we had on Saturday in the amount of $19,000. Is that appropriate
For level 1,
for level 1?
19,580.
19,580.
Yeah.
So I would want that the tentatively approved budget from Saturday be reduced in that amount.
It's actually, I think the motion has to be to account 433 in the amount of 19,580.
That's, okay, and that's the form. You can,
We have a second.
Dawn, you got that?
432.
Oh, 432?
Matt said.
Oh, sorry. I wrote it down on the wrong page.
Do we have a second? Second. Discussion? Would someone,
I just wanted to note that when I was looking at this, I noticed that there was a huge increase in the percent. It went up a lot. It was like, it went from 13,000 to 19,000, the window washing. So I think this would be actually a good opportunity to maybe just look for a new person to wash our windows. I don't know. I don't accept that much of an increase in my services.
I'll note it.
consider it jotted.
Yeah, exactly.
well, I think, it's actually through a 1-year moratorium, to take a step back from it, that there was discussion about discrepancies, huge increases, and it could be just the different buildings and the estimates in each building, but it would be good. I think we just,
Liz makes a good point. We always look to find,
yeah.
the best contract we can possibly find, so, yes.
All right, who has the
I have
motion?
the
I'm
motion.
trying to find the silver lining.
Just got to call it.
Could you
I
find the
appreciate
motion?
that.
windows, you can't see it.
Could you find a motion for me? Yeah.
Yeah, we already
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Opposed? Carries, okay. So we'll take a new number from Beth.
So for that object, the new request is 121, for a reduction of 2,261, and the bottom line is now 70,738,78, an increase of 3,029,673, or 4.4%.
Thank you, Beth. Okay, so can we move to the level 2 significant impact? Any more discussion or motions? Or would it be the board's pleasure to move on to level 3 at this time?
I prefer to move to level 3.
Everyone okay with that? Okay. Okay.
I have a question.
Liz?
What account are the major projects in?
It's 433, I think.
Oh, that's where I was, where I made the wrong motion.
There's 3 of them, like, back to back. Clarifying question, is it possible to incorporate all the level 3 cuts into one motion?
Yes.
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 Okay, so the motion would be framed as something like direct the superintendent to reduce the budget, and the individual accounts referenced in the level 3 cuts
Yes.
in such a way
Yes.
as to achieve the savings, or overall reduction set forth in that slide. All right, I'll make that motion.
You'd want to put the amount
Yeah.
of it, but yes,
Would be
yeah.
351.
51,697, right. Okay, so I'll make a motion then.
Oh, because you don't want to include the level 2.
Correct.
I understand.
That's right.
So you're right.
It's the subtotals of the one on the page. So then I'll make a motion that the superintendent be directed to reduce the tentatively approved budget from our session on Saturday in the sum of $351,697, as more particularly set forth in the slide known as level 3 cuts presented at this evening's meeting, and then to further direct her to apply whatever the cuts need to be applied on the individual accounts referenced by the slide.
You have a second?
Second?
It was, oh, yeah, 300,000.
$351,697.
$351,697, am I right? Right. We had a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Thank you, everyone. I know that's not easy. Thank you all.
What's the total number now, please?
So the new total request is $70,386,581, an increase of $2,677,976, and a percentage increase of 3.96.
Thank you. I need that number again. Never mind.
Okay. So, well, yeah, so we did.
So that's without taking out the uniforms.
Right, so was there any more discussion on the level 2 page? Any discussion, motions? Okay, all right, so I'm going to need those numbers again. Okay. Okay. So, wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, at this time, we're going to move to Agenda Item 7, New Business, Consideration of Motion to adopt the 2020-2021 school district budget. On, that's it, right?
Or to continue.
Or to continue on to February 5th, 2002 Budget Workshop.
No. I just want to clarify, so we're not taking out the uniforms now?
We are not. Anything on level 2? There was no motion on level 2? Is everyone clear on that? I want to be clear. Is everyone clear on what we voted on? Okay, Christie? So nothing in level 2 was reduced?
Understood.
Okay?
But I'm sorry, I'm just going to ask, because that's $6,100, but there's, a $5,000 level 3, so, I mean.
Would you like to
I
make a
know,
motion?
I know we already did the,
Yep.
I just want to make sure that
No,
I'm
we can go
understanding
back.
what we're doing.
Would you like to make a motion?
No, 'cause- so this is, no. I'm good.
Are you all set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So item number 7A, consideration of motion to adopt the 2020-21 school district budget or adjourn and continue on to February 5th, 2020 budget workshop. Can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 2020-2021 budget as recommended by the Farmington Board of Education. The Farmington Board of Education recommends to the Farmington Town Council a 2020-2021 budget of $70,386,581 that reflects a total increase of $2,677,976, or a 3.96% increase over the 2019-2020 Board of Education budget.
Motion, or second.
Can we get a unanimous second? Everyone okay with the unanimous second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you, everyone.
Great job, Ellen.
I just want to say I am so, I know this was really tough, and for those of you, your first year, this really was a very unique night for us for a long time, and I think, it has a lot to do with the direction that our challenges with our state funding. We had to take into consideration with the future of a new high school project, and I'm so proud of all of you for working together and seeing past this and working with the council, and looking into every areas. And I know it was not easy. It's not easy on any of us to cut like this before we give this budget to the council. Our superintendent, from her district leaders, cut over $800,000 from this budget before it came to us. We have reduced it well over $350,000, and it is my hope that our town council will recognize the hard work that we did, and I encourage the public to get to the town council when the Board of Education presents this budget to the town council, because any further reductions from what we had to do tonight, I'm fearful that we will not be able to keep further cuts away from the students. And I'm very proud of all of you tonight, because I think we have been able to find efficiencies. I give so much credit to Kathy Greeter and Alicia and Kim and our Special Services Department for really partnering with us, and our entire DLC for partnering with us on this budget journey this year. But I do hope this community does get out and support this budget, and encourage our town council to pass it as is, because I think if we have to come back here, that it could be very painful to our students. And one thing I know we do not want to do is, we do have a lot of future facility projects in town in the high school, but we can't do that at the expense of our excellent education. Nobody wants to do that here. I don't believe our community wants us to do that, not for a minute. Do I believe that our Farmington community would want us to sacrifice our excellence in education for a future high school project? So anyway, thank you all. Anyone else? I will open it up to the board, or no? Report of board chair, I just did it. So, that's all.
One more thing on the
Oh.
agenda. Authorize the signers.
Oh, sorry. So next item on the agenda, 7B, authorization of signers for Farmington Public Schools 403B retirement plan. Can I have a motion?
Motion, second.
Oh, well, wait.
Either
Motion
one,
Move on
discussion?
second.
Is there, no?
Well, it would, I have to look at
No. Oh. Okay.
Whole thing.
It's a long motion, but we know very specific.
Oh, okay.
So just
I'll read it.
modify your motion.
Okay, so I would like to withdraw my motion.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Liz?
That's fine.
The Farmington Public Schools, acting through an officer and pursuant to authorization of its governing board, hereby adopts the Farmington Public Schools 403B retirement plan, subject to its terms. All right, hold on. I'm going to start over. I'd like to make a motion that the Farmington Public Schools, acting through an officer and pursuant to authorization of its governing board, hereby adopts the Farmington Public Schools 403B retirement plan, subject to its terms and the terms of any other agreements as deemed appropriate, attached hereto and made part hereof, and the adoption agreement and the selections made therein. The board authorizes Kathleen and/or Kathleen Greeter.
Becoming one.
We're becoming, my new last name is.
Kathleen Greeter and/or Alicia Bowman to sign future plan documents.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
We're adjourned. Thank you all.